Hey, it's Dr. Bob at New Life Counseling Center, and this video is going to be a complement to the prior video on the 4 questions and the weekly date night. You can find that elsewhere on the channel. So there's another weekly meeting that I recommend husbands establish with your wife, and that is a business meeting. And I want you to take a minute and think about what would happen in a business if you never actually had a meeting. I know meetings are terrible and you joke about it and you dread them and they're boring. I get it. But what if you never had a business meeting? What would happen to the morale? You'd have people who are not necessarily informed. You have a rumor mill. You have all these kind of things. Your productivity goes down. And it's not good. And so everybody laughs about the Friday meeting, but the Friday meeting keeps everybody focused and informed. It's actually respectful. So one thing that is very, very consistent that I pick up on from wives is that wives always want to know that their husband's eye is on the ball. And a lot of times when there's a strain in a marriage, what it looks like is a wife who's nagging, a wife who's always reminding, and the husband's like, yeah, I know. It's very common that we fall into that kind of a trap. So what if you had a weekly business meeting? You sit down, you determine a time and a place, there's an agenda, you have a secretary who takes notes, there's the old business that is then reviewed first, and then new business. And the CEO establishes an agenda wherein there is a detail of what all the new business is. As there is a start and an end time, if it's run well, we have to keep the meeting moving, and everybody has a copy of all the things that we're going to touch on today. There is never an expectation that you absolutely resolve everything. It doesn't work that way. You've got 6 different things on the agenda for today, and after you cover the things that we talked about last time, you go through these agenda items. What happens if the meeting starts to get bogged down? Well, the CEO would say something like, okay, let's give this to committee. Hey, Jake, would you form a team and investigate this further and then report next week? So that's over there, and then we can move on to the next agenda item. How do people conduct themselves in a professional setting like that? The first thing is they're dressed in professional attire, not Hawaii shirts, but you dress appropriately, and the dress kind of determines how you behave. A lot of times, meetings like this could be done over lunch. There's something about eating together that is cohesive when you're trying to discuss things. There's a certain decorum that would be expected. Corporations have something called a sergeant of arms. And in the event that someone in the meeting is disruptive, perhaps the CEO would call the sergeant of arms to go show them the door. So that's corporate world, and I come from the corporate world. Now, let's apply this to a marriage. I'd love to see every couple not only have a weekly date night, but a weekly business meeting. And using your phone, you have a calendar in your phone. That's where you establish the recurring meeting, but you actually put the agenda for everything you're going to talk about into that weekly recurring meeting. The beauty of this is that every time that you meet and you update the notes, the future meeting is automatically updated. It happens automatically. It's perfect. So what do you want to talk about with your family? Well, I don't know. Men, what are your wives talking about? What are the issues that they're concerned about? Well, write them all down and sit down, take 1 hour and just touch on every one of them. That doesn't mean that you hash it out and you come to the end, but once a week you're sitting down to talk about it. I have to tell you, from a lot of professional experience with getting couples to do this, it's the wives who just absolutely love this because they know that their husband's eye is on the ball. You're sitting and you're talking about things, and we don't have to be reminded all the time because the wife is comforted that we are talking about it. The eye is on the ball. So what are the agenda items? I don't know. I would start with whatever it is that is the chronic issue that always comes up. But let's talk about finances. Maybe you've got a 529 that you're funding for your kid for college, and maybe you know that one of the cars needs to be serviced or the roof is going to need to be repaired. Maybe you're looking at the news and there's perhaps an opportunity to save money on refinancing the house. Those are financial examples. Who knows? It's whatever you wish to put on there. Now, let's talk about morale. In a business or a home, somebody's sitting at their desk and they're working and their mind is distracted from what they're doing because they're worried about this or that. What they could easily do is email the CEO and just say, hey, for Friday's meeting, could we talk about this? Send. And as soon as it's sent, I can get along with my life or with my focus. So I'm not distracted with all these things. I know that it will be addressed when we sit down. So this works out tremendously in practice when you have a weekly date night where you go through the 4 questions, and then you have a weekly business meeting where, in a very calm, logical kind of way, you're addressing whatever it is that needs to be addressed. And when you stop and think about it, families have a lot going on, don't we? There's aging parents that you take care of and all the things. So it works beautifully. For my former clients who have done this, I know you're listening, please add in the comments. I would love to have you contribute to the conversation and talk about how you've benefited from this exercise. If you haven't tried it yet, just put an appointment on the calendar and begin and refine it as you go. And release yourself from the pressure that everything has to get solved in this meeting. It's okay. Next Friday's coming. All right, thanks.